On New Year's Day, news broke that Enzo Maresca and Chelsea had officially parted ways. We started to sense that something like this could happen after the Everton game when the coach said that he was getting no support from the club. And, well, this is how the club chose to start the new year, with a really heavy bombshell. Well, now we want to look at some of the possible repercussions of that decision. Of course, some Chelsea fans are very hurt that they just lost a coach who won them the Club World Cup, despite being underdogs. But today, we're focused on the players. We want to look at some players who might also be unhappy. These are 7 Chelsea players who will suffer the most from Enzo Maresca's departure. Top of the list certainly has to be Reece James. Before Moresca took over as Chelsea manager, James suffered a lot of injury problems. He was in and out of the hospital so much that Chelsea fans had already started to give up on their captain. His quality was never in doubt at any point, but it just looked like there was just no way back for him. He seemed unable to stay fit to save his life, and if he could not stay fit, what was the point of having him in the squad and paying him $250k every week? But Moresca came in and found what seems like a permanent solution to the problem. He changed the captain's position, using him more centrally so he doesn't overwork his muscles running up and down the wing. He also properly managed his minutes, ensuring not to use him more than once in a week no matter how desperate they were. These measures really helped James get back to full fitness and be available for a long period of time now. A new coach might come in and undo all the work Moresca did to put James's injury woes behind him by just simply returning him back to right back or giving him more minutes. I mean, we all can see how Thomas Tuchel uses him in England. Using James that way, week in, week out, might be detrimental to his body and fitness in the long run. Essentially, there's a massive chance that Reece James will suffer from Moresca's exit sooner rather than later. And Wesley Fofana's case is pretty similar to this. He was a victim of long-term and recurrent injuries which caused a lot of people to give up on him as well. They called him an absolute waste of money, and those who wanted him out were more than those who wanted him in. But Moresca found a remedy to his injury problems and eased him back into the team. Now you can argue that he's been Chelsea's best centre-back this season. But the reason Fofana is always available for the big games these days is because Moresca made sure to properly manage his minutes no matter what the situation was. Sometimes he wouldn't even include him in the matchday squad to ensure that he got proper rest. If the new coach doesn't take this level of caution with Fofana, the Frenchman could relapse and Chelsea might really suffer because of that. And personally, it could put an end to the defender's growing chances of being at the 2026 World Cup. Another injury-prone player who belongs on this list is Romeo Lavia. A lot of coaches would already have given up on the Belgian at this point, especially as Chelsea already have a lot of other great midfield options. But Moresca stayed very patient with him and continued to believe in him up until the very end. The midfielder has made a lot of progress fitness-wise under Moresca, but his injury woes are not behind him just yet. There's a possibility that a new coach won't be as patient and might just want to cut their losses and put him on the market immediately. But this video is not just about injury-prone players. I mean, even Cole Palmer might suffer from Moresca's departure. Yes, Moresca made sure to manage his minutes after his injury to ensure that he was properly eased into the squad and didn't relapse. But it's more than that. Moresca is the one coach who appeared to understand completely that Palmer is a 10 and not a winger, and insisted on using him in his best position. Moresca would use Palmer in his most preferred position and surround him with players who would do the bunch of the work for him and allow him to affect the game in the final third where he's most efficient. And this isn't an easy thing to do. Moresca could afford to use Palmer in the 10 despite him being not so great off the ball because he usually inverts one of his fullbacks, which still gives him the numbers in the midfield. But not every coach can do this. If a new manager comes in and just chucks Palmer in the right wing to allow him to play a normal 4-3-3 formation, Palmer might end up being very unhappy, especially if he's asked to track back on the wing every time. Let us now talk about Tosin Adarabioyo. The 28-year-old has just not been good enough this season. Each time he's been on the pitch, it has felt like he always had an error in him, which has caused the fans to ask for him to be dropped permanently. But despite all that, Moresca always insisted on using him and giving him minutes every now and then. One would assume that any other coach would punish his errors and poor form by relegating him permanently to the bench or even leaving him out of the squad completely. With Fofana, Chalobah, Archiempong, Badiashile and Hato available to be used at centre-back, and Colwill still on his way back, Chelsea have a lot of options, so you could easily see Tosin being dropped or even being sold under a different coach. Another player who could suffer because of Moresca's departure is his namesake Enzo Fernandez. Moresca platformed the Argentinian midfielder so well, which massively improved his attacking output. Last season, Enzo was involved in 26 goals from the midfield, and this season he already has 8. Meanwhile, the season before Moresca came in, he had just 11 all season. Moresca's midfield setup at Chelsea made it such that Fernandez was able to roam forward very often, which allowed him to be a great box crasher and get a load of goals and assists. Every player, no matter the position, enjoys the feeling of being amongst the goals. But if a new coach comes with a new setup which pushes Enzo further back and reduces his goal involvement, he's likely to be a little less happy than he was under Moresca. Finally, Liam Delap might suffer from Enzo Maresca's departure. The Italian gaffer was one of the reasons Delap chose Chelsea, due to their previous relationship at Man City. The gaffer was also very patient with him despite his injury, goal drought and indiscipline. The replacement might not be this patient with him, and when you consider that Chelsea have other options for the number 9 position, you see how precarious this situation is. Mark Gui is a striker, while João Pedro and Tyreek George can also play as number 9s. Heck, there's even the option of bringing Nicholas Jackson back into the fold, whether in January or in the summer. So Delap could really suffer in the new dispensation. But which Chelsea player do you guys think will suffer the most from Enzo Maresca's departure? And also, what are your thoughts on the Italian coach leaving Chelsea? Was it the right move for both parties? Was the club silly with this one? What do you think was the real cause of all of this? Get in the comments and talk to us. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, turn on the bell notification so that you never miss out on new content. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.